Hello, welcome to this series we keep trying to revive, but we never do, because I can never be bothered to put the video up. I'm here with Nick.
Yeah, but the fact that we're trying to revive it and you don't put the videos up, surely that's debatable that it exists.
That is true, and I deleted the old versions off, so yeah. They were so bad, so yeah, this
That's
is Nick.
my intro, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're gonna, because E3 was this week, and the dust has kind of settled. We'll give our take on all the games that were announced. We're gonna go from alphabetically. Hopefully we won't miss any big ones. We may miss a couple of smaller indie ones, but yeah.
For going alphabetically, that should mean that probably one of my favourite things was announced. It's going to be first on the list.
I think it's second. The first one is Alien Isolation.
That I didn't actually get to see it, but what I've heard about it sounds really cool. It reminds me of the PS1 Alien games. The kind of I don't know. It's a bit more. It's obviously
horror.
Looking at the horror side of it more than the action.
Yeah, which I think was important after Colonial Marines.
Once again, haven't played it, but
Good.
certain people's opinions has forced me away from it.
It's very Amnesia, Outlast, that kind of horror. But at the same time, they're doing some interesting things where there are enemies in the game. But it's not so much about fighting them, you kind of just use them as bait for the alien, so while it's killing them, you can run off. Which I think is probably the best way they could have done that. But yeah, it looks good graphically and all that. It looks scary. Or I don't know if I'll be sitting there screaming, but it definitely looks like it has good atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the design looks very authentic and stuff like that. So, next up, we have Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yes. Do you want to go first this time then?
Okay, sure. I didn't buy AC4 Black Flag. I didn't think it looked enough like Assassin's Creed for me. I still don't own it. This, however, is what I was really hoping for with the next Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, pretty much, with the multiplayer especially. Because I've always maintained that I don't particularly like the Assassin's Creed multiplayer, but I think it has good potential for co-op. And they've finally done real co-op, which is good. And the French Revolution, it will definitely be at the very least more interesting than the American one, because it has like violence on the streets compared with the American Revolution, where it's all like signing documents and stuff.
Yeah, it definitely looks. How can I even put it? It looks interesting, to say the least. They've worked on the indoor mechanics so that whereas in AC3, if you were to go inside, it'd be like kind of just to escape the line of view of the soldiers. But with this, they're kind of actual indoor areas where you can do activities, and kill, whatever.
And real stealth, finally, in an Assassin's Creed game.
A couple of others have brought that up. You can actually crouch now.
Yeah, and they've improved the crowd mechanics, definitely, from the looks of things.
Yeah, there was like absolutely no point to being in a crowd in AC3. There was like no point.
And apparently it's 1-to-1 scale-wise with Paris, so that's exciting, because they've never done that with a city before, to my knowledge. So, and the architecture in France is just much more interesting than America. There's more like free running parkour kind of areas. So yeah, that definitely looks exciting. I'll be interested to see what they do with the modern day bit, because story-wise, Assassin's Creed seems to be stuck with a limbo, where they've set up the finale, but because they don't want the series to end, they keep having to divert from it to kind of avoid finishing the story.
You know, they could always just do what every teenage book fiction has done recently and just make everything into 2 parts.
Except with Assassin's Creed, they'll make it the longest finale part ever. Part 20 of the finale. So yeah, next was Arkham Knight. Uh, as someone who's played the other two Arkham games, I'm very excited. Have you?
I played a bit of the first one.
But yeah, they're some of my favorite games on consoles in general. So I'm definitely excited for this one. The Batmobile looks well implemented. It
Yes,
doesn't
I
look.
did see that. I saw the driving of the Batmobile, and it looked very kind of. It looked like it suited the Gotham feel.
Yeah,
If you got what I mean.
because I was always like, you can't do the Batmobile in a game because you can't just run people over. But they seem to be doing it in a way that works, if that makes sense. Where it's in the free roam, so it's not completely scripted, but also you can't just murder people. And the Scarecrow's my second favourite Batman villain, so him as the main villain, I'm very excited for that. And he
Wasn't
looks.
he also the main villain in the first one? Wasn't he?
He
I
was
mean, I can't
one of
remember.
them. The Joker was, but who is my favorite Batman villain? But the Scarecrow was there, and he wasn't in the second one.
Yeah.
But he was very strongly hinted at. So yeah, and the design of him looks great in my opinion. So combat that has always been great. So graphics and look great. Then we got Battlefield Hardline.
I think both of us are pretty much. I wouldn't say hyped, but we're looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. The more I've seen of it, the more I've gone, this kind of looks like an expansion, but I'm interested, definitely, because they're doing something different, because they clearly want Battlefield every year like Call of Duty, but they've done it in a smart way that COD hasn't, where they're making each game distinct, hopefully, where they've like got the Cops and Robbers one and the actual war one, whereas I thought COD should always have been like a different era for each developer. And so that way, I think Battlefield will succeed in feeling very different each year. I just feel they should have toned back the destruction a bit.
Yeah, I mean the whole. It seems to me that the criminals have even more firepower than like the state police. It's like
Yeah.
The hell.
Yeah,
But,
and
I want. What I'd like to see is a kind of a split with the campaign. So you'd have like a police campaign and a criminal campaign.
yeah,
Because as much as we all love the Battlefield multiplayer, it's not going to really change from Hardline to 4, or at least
Yeah.
what I've seen of it.
yeah. I've heard it doesn't really play that differently. It plays a little differently, obviously, but you don't feel like, whoa, this is the police versus cops
Yeah.
Battlefield. So, yeah, and campaign's never been a Battlefield strong suit, except with the Bad Company games, really. They're the only campaigns I've enjoyed. So I'd be interested to see. Especially as it's a different developer. It's Visceral, who did, what's it called? Dead Space, which is a very good first game, in my opinion. So, and they definitely went with more action focus they went on, so I think definitely them doing an action game works. And hopefully it'll be slightly more polished, because DICE seem to be doing 10 million games. They've got, I assume, Battlefield 5, Battlefront, and Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
So I think it will succeed from being more focused, whereas I think Battlefield 4 definitely suffered from not being that. Next is Bloodborne.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Dark Souls and Demon Souls, so you may want to give your opinion.
Well, no, I mean, what have you seen of it? Because, admittedly, there's not much I can go on.
Yeah, I've just seen the trailer and was very confused, and it was so dark I couldn't really tell what happening. There was just some dude that looked like he was chopping people up.
Yeah. So, okay, from a person who's played a lot of Namco Bandai's games, I'm going to guess that this is going to be a hack and slash heavy game. I'm looking at a kind of, not a rip-off of Devil May Cry, but something quite similar.
All right.
Maybe in a darker, more medieval kind of situation.
All right. Because I assumed it would just be like Dark Souls or Demon Souls, but
no, it's. I think From Software and Namco Bandai are really good at making distinct differences between their franchises. I mean, okay, you can look at Armored Core and the Soul series and say, oh yeah, just one's with mechs, one's with like you fighting dragons and stuff. But they even like between their individual titles within the series, they've always made steps to show how they're different and very distinct enemies and movesets and stuff like that. I'm kind of looking forward to Bloodborne. I want to see what it is though, because I didn't see much.
Right, so next I've grouped two games together as they're both in the same series. First up, Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Yeah, this I'm not too interested in at all. Are you?
I actually really like the design of the Borderlands games. I own the first one, but unfortunately I haven't played enough of it to probably give a proper verdict behind it. But I enjoy it. It's just kind of one of those games that it's open world and I can jump in to shoot a couple of randoms and it's fun. That's all I wanted from it.
I'd agree with that with the first game, but I feel I don't think there's a series in Borderlands. Especially not with this pre-sequel, which feels just like it's being made by different people, and it feels like they're just trying to like extend all the main jokes running through the Borderlands. Like Claptrap is a playable character. I don't see the point to that.
Really, it's like I don't know.
And it's apparently about Handsome Jack, who all I know about him he's the villain of Borderlands 2 and people really liked him. But I'm like, did they really need to see a whole game? The only intriguing thing is it's set on a moon, so
yeah, I thought that cool. It looked quite dark as well.
In lighting and in tone.
Yeah,
but the other game I grouped in with it is Tales from the Borderlands, which is Telltale's series they're doing based around Borderlands for some reason, which I cannot fathom. Because no one has ever said the best thing about Borderlands is the story. And Telltale specialised on story. They did the Walking Dead game and the Wolf
which I know you loved a bit.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what? Why Borderlands? Of all the different series they could have chosen, Borderlands just seems odd. The only comparison I can think of is the visual style, which is quite similar. So I've still not really seen anything of it. I just think it's weird that they're doing it. So after that, it's Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Do you want to give your thoughts on this?
As I've seen the kind of the teaser trailer in a way over like a million times because it decides to pop up on my YouTube feed so many times, it looks cool. I think it looks different.
Yeah. I'd agree. I think it's going to benefit greatly from having the first 3-year development cycle of a Call of Duty in ages.
Yeah.
And I think that really shows. Like, graphically, okay, they're doing Future Warfare again, but they've gone further than Black Ops 2. And they haven't regressed like Ghosts. So the whole Elysium jumpsuits, which apparently because they were developing it before Elysium was announced, basically everyone's saying they're ripping off Titanfall. Please stop. Titanfall was announced last year or the year before, and this game is being developed for 3 years. Okay, so they can't have ripped it off without scrapping their whole game, which would be stupid.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be back to what it used to be, just a 2-year cycle.
And this definitely looks like a 3-year cycle. If you compare this to the advance of most CODs, you can definitely go graphically and all of that, definitely. And a big thing, this year they keep talking up the story, which they don't normally do. So I'm intrigued to see what it will be. And they're boasting like, these big emotional moments. And I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued by that.
And I
Um,
saw the bit where the guy's arm falls off
yeah,
as he's being dragged away, and I was like, wow, that's actually that was really good. The
yeah,
way they did
that's
it.
never been done in a Call of Duty before. The closest we've gotten is when we saw Woods get crippled from his
Yeah.
perspective, which I think worked quite well.
Also, when Hudson, I believe it was, got
Yeah,
his
but
kneecaps blown
once
off.
again, that wasn't from his perspective. I meant the kind of your guy
Oh,
getting
yeah, true.
blown to bits. He's totally going to get a cool robot arm, by the way.
Oh yeah, straight away. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like XCOM, just like we can make them into superhumans.
And yeah, and obviously they've got Kevin Spacey, who's a very famous actor. I haven't seen anything really with him in yet, but I've heard he's very good. And he definitely looked intriguing.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, and he definitely looked like a good, I assume, villain.
Seems to me like the kind of an elusive man from
Yeah.
so you're working with him, but maybe not.
Yeah,
He's not the good guy in the kind of way.
Once again, I wasn't sure if you're playing as the bad guys in this one because they keep talking about PMCs.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be really ballsy if you play as basically the bad guys in this. Because they keep going on about what if they turned against America. I was like, that'd be interesting. I don't think they will, though. I don't think they'll have you invade America. You will either defect or you'll be in the US Army. But still, I am interested to see where it's going, because I enjoy COD. There's only been a few I don't like.
It's always fun to just play it, really.
I don't think it ever demos really well, because it's
really
a shooter.
Need hands-on with it.
On whether
it's good or not, and just the feel of it, really.
Yeah, because it's a shooter, they don't normally demo well, because it's just dudes shooting dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, next is Crackdown 3, but it's not called Crackdown 3.
Crackdown.
Yeah,
right.
I haven't played a Crackdown, so you can have the floor with this one.
I played the one that was given on Xbox Live for free for about, I'd say, 3 hours overall.
All right.
You know, it has potential, I'll tell you that.
All right.
But it kind of feels weird, because it's like, I'm playing as this superhuman that can, like, jump over, like, massive buildings and uses sniper rifles like the guy in Sniper Elite. But it's like, I'm fighting random, like, Mexican criminals. It's like, what? Surely I should be put to better use. I mean, I think I remember now that the Crackdown story was like, oh, you're in this kind of destroyed city, and, like, you know, it's being taken over by the bosses of these criminal organizations. But I'm like, alright, it's fun to jump around and own people, which it's what I like in a game.
I've definitely heard that's kind of the thing of Crackdown. It's a free roam, but you can jump around and stuff. And when I was watching the trailer, I just kind of thought, I feel Saints Row has kind of filled in the space for Crackdown now, because when with them introducing superpowers and all of that, I'm like, I'm not sure how relevant Crackdown will be now.
They really just need to take it from a different perspective, because I would say take an old school style perspective, but then Saints Row does that quite well as well.
So yeah, that was Crackdown. Then we got The Crew. I haven't seen any new gameplay of this. I just know it was at E3, and it's basically the MMO car game, which, yeah, I'm interested by it. The whole kind of drive across America in a car. I would kind of like it if you could get out of the car, but okay, I'm still interested.
You've been playing a bit too much GTA, my friend.
We'll get to that. But yeah, it looks fun. I don't have too much new to say on this. If you want to see a more in-depth, I think it was on my 20 anticipated games. I have nothing really new to say about it. I don't know if you do.
it's not Need for Speed Carbon remake, so it can go the hell away.
Okay, so next we have Dead Island 2.
That's my verdict for every car game, ladies and gentlemen. If it's not a Need for Speed Carbon remake, it can go the F away.
So yeah, next we have Dead Island 2, which I'm interested
Get
in.
hyped, everyone. Get super hyped.
Dead Island, I think, is a horrible mess. A shambling mess of a game. But the thing that really intrigued me here was, first of all, the CGI trailer this year. At least they've got the tone right with the game, where it's not like dramatic child death or couple about to kill themselves to escape the zombies this year, unlike the last two trailers. So at least they have their tone right. However, the problem with Dead Island's tone is I'm always like, can't I just play Dead Rising for this? So, yeah, that's always been my opinion on the series. However, this year it's being made by Jaeger, who made Spec Ops The Line, which is one of the best games on Xbox 360 and possibly in general. And you should definitely play it. However, this is the complete opposite tonally to Spec Ops The Line. I don't want to get into spoilers for that, because there's no point if you know the story. But that definitely has a much darker tone than Dead Island, and is a third-person shooter. So I'll be interested to see how Dead Island 2 turns out because of that. Your thoughts on Dead Island 2?
I loved the first one when I was playing it. No, when I was playing it with my uncle.
All right.
It was extremely fun because we would just go around. I would just throw knives at things and they would die, and it was just like, sick. I can just do this for the entire game. And I don't know. I thought it definitely got better as it went along. So. But the first chapter was very boring. And then the second chapter, it definitely started to pick up. And then the third chapter was like, wow, this is actually quite good. I'm really enjoying this. Like, because you start going into the sewers and there's all kinds of weird zombies there. And
all right.
It's actually quite good. And I'm hoping from Dead Island 2 to kind of emphasize on this, bring more types of zombies into it.
Yeah, they have actually said they're putting lots of types of zombies in there. So
if it freaks me out with a new zombie every 2 hours,
yeah,
sign me up.
Obviously, cool. Don't throw one at you every minute, but yeah, definitely if they have a variety, because the problem with zombies is they're very samey. So if they have different varieties of zombies, as if in even different from the normal varieties we get, which is the one that knocks you down, the one that spits at you, and the really fast one.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get more variety in that sense.
I'm waiting for the flying one and the one that digs under the ground and then just
oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Next we have Deep Down, which I'm interested to hear you talk about, because essentially it's just a co-op Dark Souls from what I've heard, with weird, almost animus time travel. So, yeah, what's your thought on this as a Dark Souls fan? I'm definitely interested.
Admittedly, I haven't... Is there much gameplay for it?
No, not really. This is just kind of what I've heard about it. There's a little bit, but once again, I'm not sure if that's gameplay or a CGI trailer made to look like gameplay.
From what I've seen of it and kind of what the trailer gives me, I'm looking at a Dark Souls style game, but with a bit more team play.
Yeah.
That's very similar to Dragon's Dogma.
Haven't played that, so.
Which.
Oh, we've got lag. Please bear with us. So yeah, sorry about that, people. The call dropped out. Skype is a flawless machine.
Probably my fault.
So yeah, Nick, if you want to continue.
I think where I was going with it was that Dragon's Dogma is this kind of team-style game where you want to work with what you have and try and advance balance accordingly. So if you have two mages, you'll try and exploit all of an enemy's weakness, where if you have two fighters or warriors, then you're going to try and just tank them down or just stay on the enemy's front as much as possible, which I think is going to play significance in what's it called? Deep Down?
Deep Down.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's going to play quite significance. I am intrigued. I want to see what they do with this whole, I guess, Assassin's Creed take of it, but I don't know. It's just
I'm intrigued, definitely.
Yeah,
as well.
definitely.
Next we have Destiny. Right. So so I've been playing the alpha of Destiny, and I'll probably do a separate video on it where I go into more detail, but I'm definitely enjoying it, considering I wasn't that hyped for it before it came out. Well, the alpha. Because, I don't know, it just, once again, it's a shooter, so it never really demoed well for me. It was always just man shooting man aliens. And, yeah, many people, I thought it just looks kind of like another Halo, but not as good. It's actually very good. So far in the alpha, I've enjoyed it. It's more Halo than Borderlands, thankfully, because I don't particularly like Borderlands. But yeah, I think Destiny's very good, and I will be buying it most probably. What are your kind of thoughts on the game?
I don't know. It's just from someone like you who really didn't like Halo 4.
Yes.
I would think that this new Bungie title is the exact thing you were looking for from the start. So I'm a bit confused in how you first thought, it doesn't look that good.
No, I didn't think it looked bad. I just didn't get why everyone was losing their minds over it. Like, people were like, Destiny is the Jesus Christ of video games. And I was...
Yeah, but it's like you said, it's because it's Bungie's move from being this kind of Xbox exclusive that,
yeah.
The us PlayStation crowd didn't get any of, but we still liked it for the most part, I think.
Yeah.
And then it came over to PS4, because it is coming out on PS4. So
yeah, it is. It's coming out on every console in existence.
Yes, let's get this now. Everything, yes.
But yeah, it's familiar, but not the same as Halo, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in story, it feels very familiar in Halo. In that there's humans, there's aliens, and there's the evil aliens that are basically the Flood that everyone tries to lock away. But it's not exactly the same. It's kind of the sci-fi story I prefer, where humanity, bright and bold, went into the stars to explore and met aliens who kicked their ass and sent us back to Earth, where we just spend our time crying about the good old days. Which, I like that kind of sci-fi, where it's like humans went space and got beaten up, so...
Mass Effect is like that, isn't it?
I view Mass Effect as kind of... Yeah, Mass Effect's like the kind of prelude to that with the Reapers. This is the first Mass Effect, obviously. It's like humanity's out there in space, and then Reapers show up. And then we have one of the worst endings in history. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Destiny. I will definitely be buying it. Next up, we have Doom. Not Doom 4, Doom. We only got a trailer, sadly.
Which, again, I didn't watch.
I watched it. Did you see the original Wolfenstein The New Order trailer?
Yes.
It's exactly the same, where you see close-ups of machinery doing things, and there's all sorts of like... and they're on about binding metal with flesh, and I was like... This isn't even being made by the same people as Wolfenstein The New Order. This is so similar. I was really thrown off by it. I was just like, okay. And it feels like they're definitely going with the more horror-y feel. I can already it doesn't... But then again, I thought Wolfenstein The New Order wasn't going to be as great as it was, so... judging it on the trailer, I'm kind of confused because it was so similar to the first Wolfenstein: The New Order trailer. But I'm anticipating it. I'm interested because with the beta, I'm kind of worried it's just going to be a multiplayer deathmatch thing. Whereas I would kind of like to see my ideal Doom game is basically Left 4 Dead with demons, where it's like you've got to run through, shoot loads of things, and get to the exit.
Mm.
Whereas I don't care for Doom multiplayer that much. I didn't really care for Doom 3 that much, especially not the BFG edition.
Yeah.
So, it was just a trailer. They're going to announce more at QuakeCon, so I assume we'll get gameplay then. I am signed up for the beta, so I'll probably give my first thoughts on that too at some point. But yeah. So, next up, no one is suspecting that next is the Dragon Age Inquisition. So, you're a Dragon Age fan more than me, so if you
definitely gonna get it. It's probably the reason I'm getting my PS4 in October. Dragon Age has always been one of these series. I mean, I know you hate Mass Effect for what it became, but
yeah,
I mean,
I don't hate the Mass Effect series. I just hate bits of it.
Yeah, exactly. But there's that in every series, in my opinion. But beside the point, Dragon Age for me was always this kind of large-scale, there is dragons and we're gonna get fucked kind of game. And the Darkspawn was such, for me at least, in my view, the Darkspawn was such a cool enemy to fight. In the sense that they're like a half-breed between something like orcs and from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then there's just pure zombies. Which, just putting those two together was so cool. And I love the game to bits. The voice acting in it is great. The whole thing behind people hating 2 for its story, I played it. And I saw my brother's reactions whilst he played it, and tell you the truth, it's not as bad as people say it is.
Yeah, I don't think Dragon Age 2 is awful either. I just think it's a mess, really. It doesn't...
Yeah, exactly. It's just convoluted,
especially
and
compared to Origins.
Yeah, Origins got so much right.
It really great. Shows Dragon Age 2 was released, I think it was only a year after.
Yeah, it was.
It definitely shows... But, yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for Dragon Age Inquisition.
I'm definitely playing as a Qunari first.
They're the Horn people, right?
Yeah. Well, they weren't originally Horn.
Yeah, I know this. Dragon Age 2 messed up all the character designs. Like, the Darkspawn in that are, like, skeleton-looking people. They're, like, really pale white.
That is one thing I didn't like about them.
Yeah, Dragon Age is one of those series where I'm familiar with it, but I'm not any kind of expert in it. I know the broad strokes of the story. I know most of the characters. But I've not sat down and played either Dragon Age. I want to before Inquisition comes out, but I haven't yet. And Inquisition does look interesting. To me, it feels like what Mass Effect 3 should have been, where it's the bad guys are here and we've got to fight them. And
I'm loving this kind of Oblivion style, like, rifts are opening.
Yeah.
And, like, demons are, like, flooding out of them.
It's like Primeval.
Sorry, go on.
It's like that TV show Primeval, but with demons instead of dinosaurs.
But, it's just... The whole... That it's, like, Orlais and Ferelden, I think they said.
They definitely said it's a huge area. And I know it's free roam this time.
Yeah.
Like, people say the other Dragon Ages are free roam, but they're not, if that makes sense. They're not free roam like Skyrim free roam.
No, definitely not.
Which I think this is definitely drawing inspiration from.
I think what BioWare hopefully did was look at Kingdoms of Amalur and Dragon Age Origins and say, how do we fuse this together in the best possible way? Because the combat in Kingdoms of Amalur, best ever combat in a Western RPG.
Haven't played it.
But I know, but it has the best combat in a Western RPG.
That was a big compliment I heard about it, was the combat. So if Inquisition is similar, that should be good, I assume.
I want horse combat.
Yeah, that is in the game, because you see someone riding a horse in the trailer, and
Even more happy than I once was.
And he has a sword, so I assume you can fight. Yeah, as I said, it feels like what Mass Effect 3 should have been to me, but with dragons. So I'm interested. I will probably buy it. I'll play the other two first, hopefully, and then So after Dragon Age Inquisition, I have written on my list EA Sports and crap, so we're not really going to touch on that. FIFA had a really...
Tour, yeah.
Oh my god, yes, PGA Tour. I don't get the point to it being on Frostbite 3.
There is none.
It feels like such a waste. It feels like such a... Next gen is here, we need to make the insane graphics even for games that don't need them. Like, I don't play golf or a golf game and think, boy, I wish the graphics were better.
Yeah.
And they're putting in, like, insane crap in there. Like, I think there was a map from Battlefield 4 where there's the boat that crashes into the island. I was like, what? Who cares about this in a golf game? Also, my show is really
It'd be funny, though. Just like...
Yeah, but I'm not going to pay full price for that. It's odd.
It's every other golf game I've ever bought.
Yeah, but with Frostbite...
Like 3 years after they've been out.
Frostbite 3, even. I don't... It feels like such a... We need to make to graphics.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, I think there was some Madden. FIFA got a really obnoxious trailer, which has one...
Everything is alive, remember that, Ben?
It's more than just a game. This is football. I love that line. It's so... stupid. But yeah, there wasn't anything mind-blowing with EA Sports, I believe. They said,
EA Sports, no.
we want the crowds, which I've always said in sports games. Every time I look at them, I go, wow, that crowd looks awful. So, yeah. So, next is The Evil Within, which I'm really excited for, if I'm honest. It's being made by the guy who originally made Resident Evil. It's a classic survival horror where it's like, I've got 10 bullets and a ton of enemies to kill. How do I do this? As opposed to
run the fuck away.
As opposed to the more Amnesia, you have no weapons, you've got to hide kind of style.
Yeah, exactly.
My only misgiving is it looks a bit too gore focused. For me, like, it looks more disgusting than scary. However, some of it does look really good, like when the guy with the chainsaw chases you, I'm like, that looks like something out of a nightmare, where it's like, oh no, the guy with the chainsaw, I've got to run.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've had some really mixed things about it, where it's like, there's too much action, your character doesn't react enough, so I am kind of...
Is it first person?
No, it's third. It's like Resident Evil 4.
So... But then again, in the original Reses...
Yeah.
Like, your characters couldn't react that much, and tell you the truth, it was better that they didn't.
Yeah, I think in horror, there's a fine balance between, if the guy is a character, he needs to have some reaction.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
He can't just be going, oh my god, because it just doesn't work. It takes you out of it if the guy you're playing as is scared. You're meant to be scared. It's meant to be like, in horror films you go, don't go in there, but in the game you have to go in there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're not meant to be the, oh god, no, you can't do it. And so yeah, I'm intrigued. Also in one of their more recent trailers, there was some like weird surreal crap in there, which I love in horror, like in The Shining and stuff like that. It was like, he's in a field of sunflowers, and I was like, what the hell? So, yeah, I'm interested. I don't know what your thoughts on it are.
I love the horror game genre.
I love tech horror games.
Because I don't know. It just
Yeah, I like horror
gives a
games too.
different feeling from when you play games. Because in my opinion, there are really three types of feelings, and that's like pride,
Yeah.
affection, and fear.
Mm.
And that's really the only feelings
And anger.
that games want to portray when
And
you
anger.
do things in them.
Yeah, I enjoyed the horror genre too. Resident Evil, the original few, are some of the best survival horror games.
Silent Hill 2, not the remake one,
Not
is
the HD.
a game that I love because I own it.
Silent Hill 1 through 3, the first and second Fatal Frame, and the first 4 Resident Evils, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably the main horror games I think of, especially for that era. So, yeah, that Evil Within, I'm interested. Next up, we have Evolve, which I'm kind of excited for in a way. I'm not hyped. I'm not sitting here like, I need Evolve, but it's being made by the people that made Left 4 Dead, or the team, not Valve. The team that made Left 4 Dead. It's asymmetrical multiplayer where there's 4 guys trying to kill 1 alien, and it looks kind of fun. I'm hesitant on there needs to be some more modes in there, but they have said there are. They just haven't showed them off yet.
Which is good. It shows that they're just giving you bit by bit, so they want you to buy the game.
Yeah. But I do feel I'm probably not just going to buy it for this one mode at full price. They need to show me what else is in the game.
But when's its release date? When have they said?
I think it's next year. I don't think it's 2014.
Yeah, they'll announce something at Tokyo or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure, or PAX or Gamescom, something like that. So yeah, there's not too much to say on Evolve other than it looks interesting. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I love killing aliens with rocket launchers. So sign me
up. Next up we have Fable Legends. Good God.
Hey, don't hate on Fable.
Fable 1 and 2, I haven't played 1. 2 was good. 3
was so good. I loved it.
3 was just... Oh my god. 3 was not good, to say the least. And Legends just doesn't look interesting enough. It's not an open world. It's a 4-player... I think it may even be 3... No, it's 4-player co-op. But then there's one guy who's the dungeon master and basically spawns enemies, which looks intriguing, but it's a Fable game. I don't want... That should be like the multiplayer mode. There should be something there. I don't think on its own, I just don't care for it, if I'm honest.
It's a good idea, the whole game is 4-player co-op.
Yeah, but not in the sense of, like, missions, especially not for a Fable, I think.
Nah. If it was something like Dungeons and Dragons, on the other hand, so if they, I don't know, took the Forgotten Realms setting and did that kind of thing with it, it'd be interesting. I'm talking about, with the Forgotten Realm, I'm talking about, Baldur's Gate, Temple of Elemental Evil, stuff like that. But it definitely looks... It's a PS. It's an Xbox One title, which means I'm not going to get it. So if it looks cool, well done to people who buy it.
Yeah.
Then happy birthday. See you next gen.
But yeah, nothing jumps out to it. I'm not looking forward to it really. Then we have Far Cry 4, which...
Ooh, oh, that looks so good.
Yeah. People are complaining it looks the same as Far Cry 3, but if I'm honest, I don't care. It's got a great villain. It's got a great villain.
Oh, God, he looks so cool.
Yeah, he looks like Vaz, but more suave. It's got a new setting, which looks intriguing. It'll be fun to play on mountains with wingsuits.
Exactly, that's going to be so boss.
That's all Far Cry needs every year, or every game. They don't need a revolutionary story, because no offense to Far Cry 3, the story was good, but I don't remember most of it. It was all about putting you on an island where you can have fun, and this is doing that but with a mountain. All Far Cry needs every year is a new cool villain and a new cool setting, in my opinion. It doesn't need to reinvent itself.
And more naked bitches.
But yeah, it looks cool. The drop in drop out co-op, yeah, it looks.
Which is actually very similar to Dead Island.
And Assassin's Creed. I think Ubisoft have really gone for the kind of co-op this year.
Oh, I think Ubisoft dominated this year.
Oh, yeah, in my opinion, Ubisoft dominates every year. They always have the best kind of press conferences. EA's this year was odd. It was like, we've got all these games, but we can't show you gameplay. We'll just show you people making the games.
Which I hope you're getting onto later with a specific game.
Yes. We will.
Good.
I'm not sure why that wasn't in the list for B. Oh no, wait. Oh no, sorry, I had it under Star Wars. Sorry, I was going to say, I think Battlefront should come up, but no, it's later. But yeah, Far Cry 4 looks fun, in my opinion. Now, the next one on my list wasn't at the show, but the list I was on was adamant it was there. Gears of War 4.
It was there.
What was it? Did they announce it?
Yeah.
I was going to say...
no trailer, from what I understand.
Wasn't it just where the logo faded in?
It was just, we're making it.
Yeah, because I knew they were, because the studio, Black Tusk Studios, are making it. Honestly, I don't see why. Gears of War 3 wrapped itself up. I don't like the Gears of War franchise particularly, just off the bat. I don't know if you do.
No, not really.
But Far Cry, Gears of War 3 wrapped its story up, and that was that. Gears of War was over. Judgment came along, but yeah, that was a prequel. So it was like, I don't get this. To me, Gears of War is the series that was on the Xbox. I feel they should have moved on and done a series for the Xbox One now. Like a new series that starts and finishes with the Xbox One console cycle. So it was odd to me that they're trying to make Gears of War almost like Halo, where it's their thing that goes across all systems that they make. And has a million sequels that I don't see the point to with Gears of War. Not too much to say on that one. I don't know if you do.
No, Gears is cool, but it's not got any meat to it.
Ironic, because it's all about the violence.
And, like, the guys do squat runs with, oh god.
So, yeah. Next we have GTA 5, the Hyper Super Ultra Next Gen Edition. Yay.
Which, in my opinion, the way they did it was just shut up PC, it's coming.
Yeah, okay, I get why they're doing it, but I probably won't buy it straight away. I'm not that jazzed for more GTA 5 story or GTA Online. People are going to hate me for saying this. GTA 5 is alright. I prefer GTA 4, if I'm honest.
I just want Red Dead, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would have preferred them to announce Red Dead 3, technically, or Red Dead Redemption 2. But no, we got GTA... If it was just come to PC, fine, but I don't really care for it on next gen. I'm kind of...
I doubt they're gonna see the same amount of people, like, jumping to their feet to say, I want that. Because I think people understand it's gonna be the same.
Exactly, but people love GTA 5.
Yeah, I know.
People think GTA 5 is like the Christ of gaming. So if you don't, you probably won't care that much. They have said there's more story DLC. I didn't particularly care for GTA 5's story. I thought 4's was superior in every way. So, as long as it's something new and interesting, okay, I'm on board. Just don't continue Nico's story and mess it up like you did with a certain other character who appeared in GTA 5. Johnny, sorry. And the whole of the Lost MC for that matter, but please just don't continue Nico Bellic's story. That's my only wish for this story DLC. I would like a new area, or even just Liberty City. Just import that.
That would be great.
Yeah, just give us more cities. Yeah. Just
brighten Liberty City up.
That is one of my only problems with GTA 4 is that it's too grey.
I love it when you go into the I don't know what they call the Statue of Liberty, but
the Statue of Happiness.
Yeah, that with the beating heart. That was so cool.
But yeah, GTA 5 Next Gen, okay. They didn't touch on enough on what's new other than graphics. And I don't care enough about GTA's graphics to buy it on Next Gen as well. If you were holding off, definitely get it. Obviously, it'll be the best version of it. And I still think GTA 5 is good. But yeah, I'm not going to run out and buy this one.
It's not Vice City and it's not GTA 4, so I'm not getting it.
Okay. So next we have... the Halo Master Chief Collection and Halo 5. Do you want to give your thoughts on this first?
I think it's for the best. Loved the idea that there's 4 games in one. That, to me, seemed a really smart move for Xbox. Especially since all of the Halos were on previous gen.
Except Halo 2.
Yeah.
So it's smart to put every Halo pretty much on Xbox One. Especially if you're a Halo fan that doesn't own an Xbox
I think their idea behind it was, okay, you're not getting backwards compatibility.
So we'll just put the best games.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I still think backwards compatibility should have been in both consoles, but okay. Fine.
Yeah. But beside the point, what's it called? The Master Chief
The Master Chief Collection.
Collection, sorry.
It's not a drug, the Master Chief Experience. You gotta experience some Master.
It looks cool though, it does. And with 5, I'm just done with Master Chief. I just think the new guy looks cool. He has a cool helmet.
Okay.
That's mine.
That's
me done with Halo.
I will give my...
Fill in the gaps.
So, if you're a Halo fan like me, and own every game, pretty much every book, have completed every game, and Halo 2 is your favourite game, but you think that the graphics are the weakest part of that game, it's nice that they're doing it in next-gen graphics, and that they're giving it the Halo anniversary treatment where you can switch back and forth. And they've put all 4 games, or all 4 main games, even if 4 is, on one disc, and 100 multiplayer maps, each in their original Halo engine, running at 1080p, 60 frames a second, so really good. That's very nice. It's a shame if you don't own an Xbox One, but still. Yeah, I said I will probably buy an Xbox One for this, and I still think I may, but I love Halo. It's probably the first gaming series I got into that wasn't based on a film series. Like, I got into Battlefront and all of that, but I was never really into a game series until Halo. So I have nostalgia for that anyway. Halo 3 is my second favourite, and I know they said they don't need to, but part of me kind of wishes they had somehow made Halo 3 and 4 look really great, like they have. But there just hasn't been enough graphical advancement. I do think at least they're making them look better, unlike, say, the Doom 3 BFG edition. But yes, I'm really excited for this because Halo 2 is my favorite Halo. Reach, ODST, and Halo Wars, whilst I think they're good, I think they are some of the weakest of the series. So that is a shame that they're not there, but I'm not going to be crying because they're not there. Part of me wishes they'd done something really crazy and new with this rather than just re-releasing them. But if you're a fan of the Halo Wars of the Halo series campaigns or multiplayers, this is definitely something really good in my opinion because it's all the multiplayer maps, it's all the campaigns really. Halo 5, I'm actually intrigued with from the trailer. Sure, the main guy looks like he's going to be a Spartan 4, which, ugh, but the Arbiter's back, which is really great because the Arbiter's better than the Master Chief, in my opinion, in terms of character.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see him back.
Good to see you again.
Especially as he was sorely missed in Halo 4 by some of us. Wondering, why isn't he here? Oh well. I don't like what they did with him either after Halo 3, but okay, at least he's back. So yeah, I am excited for the Master Chief Collection, and I'm actually intrigued by Halo 5, unlike Halo 4. I think they have a chance to not fix themselves, that sounds really harsh, but you know what I mean. Kind of improve from Halo 4. So, next up we have Homefront 2, The Revolution, or it may just be Homefront, The Revolution. I've heard both names used. What are your thoughts on Homefront 1 and your thoughts on the new one? As I try and fix this chair.
Loved Homefront. I really enjoyed it.
Did you? Oh, that's interesting.
I thought it wasn't executed. It wasn't a AAA title.
No, I would agree with that.
So, but for something that isn't a AAA title, it was a damn good game. For a multiplayer that was well thought out. Admittedly, it shared a bloody server with Mass Effect 3, and if anyone's played the multiplayer on that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was smart. The way that you could basically spawn in a vehicle from the start, but then you could, just work your way up the ladder and then get into, gunships and stuff. It was really cool. The campaign, 6 hours long, not interested. It was cool, but this time around I want a good 12 to 18-hour one.
It surprises me how long the rumour for Crytek making it was around. Pretty much almost as before THQ went bankrupt, I heard rumours Crytek were making the next one, but it was going to be set in London or something. But, yeah, that just kind of interested me. But my thoughts on Homefront 1, it is a whole campaign probably comprised of 3 or 4 good moments. Considering it sold itself on being an emotional story, there were only 3 or 4 of those. Which was the opening, the corpse scene, I can't even think of any. The final level was good. And the white phosphorus, there you go. But even then, that wasn't handled as well as, say, Spec Ops The Line. So, yeah. However, I'm interested in Homefront 2. They've said it's set after Homefront 1, which is interesting. They said there's no returning characters, which, okay, I can't say I'll be missing them. I expect one will make a cameo at some point and will probably be shot. But, I hope it's not like Killzone Shadowfall, where they're like, oh, they're in hiding or something. But, I'm interested. It looks like a kind of free-roamy FPS. Fight the now more stormtrooper-looking North Koreans, which was odd. They seem to go from soldiers to stormtroopers in this game. I didn't get that. And they now have blimps, which left me going, is this Wolfenstein The New Order? Why did the
Yeah.
North Koreans have blimps? That just confused me. But part of me, thinks perhaps just a straight reboot of Homefront would have been better. Because I feel the first one had rushed over the setup of North Korea suddenly invading the US too quickly. And it's not like too much happened in the story for a reboot to be like, oh no, you're ruining all the work they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel that could have been superior to a sequel. But okay, I am open to a sequel. It intrigues me. It looks good graphically, certainly compared to Homefront 1. And I'm hoping it has those kind of emotional moments they sold the first one on in more there. But multiplayer-wise, didn't play too much for the first Homefront's multiplayer. What I played, I enjoyed, but it wasn't revolutionary.
There needed to be more maps. That's what I think. Don't do... I'm trying to think of a game that started with like shit tons of maps.
As
Anyway,
most
don't
do now.
have too many, but have enough that every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I haven't played this in a while.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much Homefront 2 The Revolution, or Homefront The Revolution, whatever it is. So, next, I assume this will only be me talking about it, we have Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number. I don't think you've played Hotline Miami, have you?
No, but let me just, from an outside perspective, it looks cool, and it looks insane.
That is a good word to describe Hotline
Miami. It looks
Miami.
like LSD.
That is probably an equally good word to describe Hotline Miami.
Oh my god, it looks... The fact that it was this kind of... It was indie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's made by two people.
It's the fact that they're making a sequel, and to me, it's like Flappy Bird, but with more death.
Nicholas Johnson, Hotline Miami 2 or Hotline Miami review, Flappy Bird with more death.
You heard it here first, people.
But yeah, Hotline Miami 1, one of my favourite games. It's brilliant. It's just this insanely great 80s, brilliant soundtrack, violent murder spree, the video game. It's what Manhunt should have been, in my opinion. And yeah, this looks like more of the same, if I'm honest. It looks great. I have no problem. Especially with them being like, this is basically what we wanted to put in the first one, but couldn't, so now here it is in Hotline Miami 2. With the masks and everything, and yes, I want this game right now. And the level editor, oh my god, I'm so excited to have a level editor.
I saw that about the level editor, and it looks fun. That looks like maybe we're going to get some like different playlists and some speed runners and stuff.
I'm hoping they put in the ability, because they keep talking about making a campaign. I hope you can put in, because Hotline Miami Diamonds doesn't have cutscenes. It has like an image of the person speaking and text. So I don't think that'd be too hard for them to be able to allow you to edit that into a level. Like if you could edit in your own basically cutscenes at the start and end of the level, I think it'd be great, because you could then basically make another Hotline Miami campaign, which they keep saying. So I would like to see that rather than just make a level, there you go, you've made it. I like the fact you can make a whole, like, because in Hotline Miami you clear a floor, move to the next one. Kind of made me think, man, I hope you can put loads of floors in these so you can just basically make Dread the video game, where you're just going floor by floor. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I put this as my most anticipated game for this year. It probably still is. I'm just, yes, I really want to play this. So yeah, next, I'm probably not going to talk too much about this. I don't know if you're a big fan of the Zelda series. We have Hyrule Warriors.
Didn't see this, but I am a relatively... I like Zelda. I've always enjoyed seeing it. and it's one of those things that if I own the game, I've usually played a fair bit of it.
Yeah, Zelda is a series.
A Game Boy Zelda. I own one of the DS Zeldas, and they're really fun to play when I'm not doing much.
To me, Zelda is a series I don't personally enjoy, but I know why people do. And this looks like a good, not sequel, but a good game in the series, in that it's basically Dynasty Warriors with
a guy
Zelda.
with a pointy hat.
Yeah, with Zelda characters. Part of me thought this is what Smash Bros. Should have evolved into, where you can just play as any Nintendo character in this huge battle. I thought
any Nintendo character,
that
would be very impressive.
Fighting a ton of Nintendo enemies. Think of how insane that would be.
But are you saying I can play as any Pokemon ever made?
Okay, maybe not that. Maybe like you have the Pokemon trainer. But you know what? Not every Nintendo character, but like the ones they put in Smash Bros. But you're fighting a ton of famous Nintendo enemies, like the Koopa Troopers and all that. I thought that would be cool. Not to detract from Hyrule Warriors.
Like the campaign, if you would call it that, in
yeah, kind of like
Smash
that,
Brothers.
but it's a third-person fighting thing. So yeah, not to detract from Hyrule Warriors, it looks good. I can see why people like it. I personally probably won't own it, but yeah, I know why people will. Then we have Inside, which is not a sequel to Limbo, but it's made by the same people. I don't know if you've played Limbo.
Played a bit.
Limbo, I really love. I haven't beaten it because it's the puzzles are too much for me to figure out. But I love the art style and all of that. And this looks intriguing. It's not a sequel, it's just made by the same people. And whereas Limbo was a black and white game, this is more like, I don't know how to describe it, kind of bleak.
Is this the one where there's a bunch of people, they're walking really weirdly?
Yes, that was this.
It was, oh god, it was what? Just
it was that insane.
It was one of the first things that Xbox came out with.
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was the first thing they talked about, and I was like,
I'm not
this
sure.
looks interesting. It looks kind of. I liked the main character.
Yeah, it looks intriguing, definitely. Still no word on Alan Wake 2.
An Xbox One, so but in fact, this one, more power to you if you've got an Xbox One and you're going to get this.
Yeah, it looks intriguing. I would like to see more, definitely, because it was just a trailer. But next, I've grouped together two games once again. First of all, we have Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, which is not the other Tomb Raider game they announced. This is a 4-player co-op, top-down, kind of like that other Tomb Raider game they did a little while ago.
Before. It recently came out on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Games with Gold.
Something Guardian? Or something like that?
Yeah, Guardians of the Crypt or something like that.
Guardians of the Crypt, like Tales from the Crypt. No, it's like the Guardian of Light or something like that.
That might be, yeah.
But yeah,
you guys know what we're talking about. You guys are smart.
Yeah, I don't really care for this, if I'm honest. I don't know if you do.
No.
However, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Jesus Christ, what an awful name. It should be the Tomb Raider Night, and then it should be the Tomb Raider Rises, first of all. If the first one was Tomb Raider Begins. It was just a CG trailer, but I loved the most recent Tomb Raider. It was like Uncharted, but with more grit and violence. And
I'm not saying Uncharted ain't good.
No.
We'll get to Uncharted 4.
Yeah, that will be second to last, I think. But yeah, it was like, everyone says it's just an Uncharted ripoff, but that makes me laugh, because Uncharted is basically a ripoff of Tomb Raider. So it made sense to evolve the gameplay of Tomb Raider to an Uncharted-like thing. Because, I don't know if you've played any of the old Tomb Raiders recently, their gameplay doesn't hold up, in my opinion.
No, shit.
It's horrible.
I tried playing Tomb Raider 3, got stuck at like the second level.
I tried to play Tomb Raider 1 and couldn't beat the first area. Just the jumping is really bad, so it made sense to change it to a more Uncharted style. So
and Square Enix is back. You heard it here first, guys.
But yeah, I love the most recent Tomb Raider. I think you did, right?
Yes, loved it.
Yeah, it's really great, and this is a continuation, sure. Please keep the supporting cast, though. That's my only wish for this.
Yeah.
I really liked the ones that weren't murdered, basically.
But grim.
Yes, except the guy that wasn't her dad but was her father figure that died from the axes. That guy was cool.
I think that was Grim.
I thought Grim was the old guy.
Grim was the old sailor.
Yeah, Grim was the old guy who got tackled off the building or whatever it was.
He was ace.
I mean the like graying-haired adventure guy with the two pistols that got murdered by the axes. Her father figure. I don't know who it was. I can't remember his name.
I called him Rolf. I don't know why.
But yeah, please keep the supporting cast. I liked the ones that survived, like Sam. She was a cool character, and all the others, basically.
The other three, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like to see them keep that in there. Yeah, the name is horrible, but aside from that, I'm excited. It looks like more Tomb Raider.
And more Square Enix.
Yes. So, next up we have The Last of Us Hyper Super Ultra Next Gen Edition.
We'll get this because I don't own it on PS3.
Yes. I didn't get the last version of it. I got, I will be getting this on PS4, which in my opinion makes more sense.
It is a kind of...
graphics, from what I heard, the graphics were really good, so yeah, it makes sense. I even heard the tacked-on multiplayer was good, unlike Tomb Raiders. I heard it was actually kind of invented and fun.
Kind of, from what I saw of it, it kind of reminded me of somewhere between a Ghost Recon game with Uncharted.
I don't know too much about it, but yeah, what I mean is I heard it was good, so yeah. Story, I know the broad strokes of it, once again, really great from what I've seen of it. I'm excited to play it, basically.
Definitely.
So next we have The Legend of Zelda, the Wii U one, where it's like a free roam Legend of Zelda game. I don't know if you have any input. I just think, cool, like Skyrim but with Zelda, possibly.
Great. No, I'm not going to buy a Wii U for that.
Neither am I.
Although there may be a game later on that I might buy a Wii U for.
So next up, Mass Effect 4.
Woo! Yes!
They didn't really show anything.
We saw a Krogan roar. Good enough for me.
And some concept art, but
I got a boner from that.
once again, I'm intrigued to see where they go after the train wreck of Mass Effect 3's ending. But
maybe it will be Modern Warfare 3.
What, the best continuation to a series since House of the Dead 2, Dead Aim?
Hey, from when House of the Dead...
True. That's true.
Damn good.
But yeah, not too much to say, just I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't think Mass Effect needs any more in its series, if I'm honest.
It doesn't need Shepard, BioWare.
That's because Shepard isn't a character. He's just choices. But yeah,
It'd be cool if Liara was in it, because she could technically still be there.
Yeah, and maybe it's a prequel, I don't know. They haven't really said, but yeah.
In regards to multiplayer, I played a lot of it.
I did not. It didn't work for me.
I know it didn't work for you, but I loved it. It was fun as hell.
It looked fun, definitely.
It was, and I played a lot with friends, which probably made it even better. We need, I think, more hybrid classes. So you kind of had your biotics, your soldiers, and then your engineers, and then you had a few like divisional classes. But I think you need something like an infiltrator that has like a cloak, but then can just wreck people with melee. And I think you should also be able to customize your character. Like,
yeah, I didn't realize you weren't able to.
I can have two characters, and I can choose their race, their style of fighting, and their weapons and everything. I want to change everything about these characters.
I was going to say, I thought you could change their faces and that.
Okay,
You
considering
could,
it's Mass
you could
Effect.
change their skin colour, their armour, and their weapons, and their powers.
Oh.
That was it.
Okay, yeah, that should definitely be in there, because that's kind of one of the things Mass Effect prides itself on. That's odd. But yeah, they're also making a new IP, which, okay, I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
New series could be cool, whatever it is.
Is it around Mass Effect?
What, the new IP?
Yeah.
No, it's a completely new series.
I'm going to take a stab and say it's going to be in the same kind of genre as Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Really? You think it'll be an FPS?
No, I think it's going to be within that kind of futuristic warfare thing.
Oh, yeah, I can picture that, actually.
Not quite Mass Effect, but not quite.
As they've got the future and as they've got the kind of medieval, that is pretty much the only place they can go.
Hey, if it's anything like Spec Ops The Line, then...
You haven't even played that. Have you?
I've played some of it.
Oh, play all of it, it's amazing.
Okay.
Then we have Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain.
It's not Metal Gear 1, so I don't like it.
Wow. Okay, I haven't played a Metal Gear game. However, this makes me want to play all of them, then except 4 because I can't, and then play this. I'm really excited for this. Metal Gear, once again, it's a series I know the broad strokes of, but I haven't played. So, I want to. I'm excited. It looks good.
You don't need to play 4. You can watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably going to watch 4.
It's got the most cutscenes of any game ever made.
But, yeah, that is kind of a Metal Gear thing.
Yeah.
It's the storyline. But, then we have... Oh, also, before we move on, open world stealth, genius idea, don't know why anyone hasn't done it yet.
Exactly.
So I'm glad they have in Metal Gear Solid 5.
That did look interesting.
Yeah, it reminded me of Red Dead, of the horse. Mm-hmm. Then we have Metro Redux, which is Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light with hyper, super, ultra next-gen editions, which has all the DLC and awesome graphics. So, didn't play the other two, we'll probably buy this and see what it's like.
I own Metro 2033, and it is goddamn good.
Yeah, the first one definitely
scary
looks it.
when you're got like no lights on, headset on. Oh god, it feels really nice. And you have to, guys, play them in Russian.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I've seen cutscenes comparing the two, and Jesus, the English is not great. So yeah, play that in Russian.
And even if you miss something, it doesn't matter. Just play it in Russian.
Then we have Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which looks like Assassin's Creed in Lord of the Rings, which, cool. I like Assassin's Creed, I like Lord of the Rings. Don't get why everyone has a problem with that.
Move
on. Fine, one more thing. The Nemesis system looks cool. I like the idea of randomly generated enemies for you that advance, and it's really hard to describe, but look it up, it looks cool. Then we have Mirror's Edge, possibly with a 2 in there, but it seemed to get lost on the way to the title, so just Mirror's Edge for this one. Not sure if it's a reboot, sequel, prequel, whatever it is. Mirror's Edge 1, haven't completed, because I've only played the demo. It was cool, this looks cool. Once again, DICE are making too much, so I feel they can't focus on one game, so that's why we didn't get any real gameplay for any of their games this year.
One thing at a time, DICE.
Yeah. They do have 2 studios, but they're making 3 games. Because I'm sure they're making Battlefield 5. Then we have Mortal Kombat X.
This we are going to play.
Yes. Right, so Mortal Kombat X. Bit of background. Mortal Kombat series I haven't played, know the broad strokes of. However, I have played Injustice. What about you, Nick?
Deadly Alliance was the first MK I played. Loved it to bits. Me and my brother. he always used to play Scorpion, I used to play as Kenshi, and obviously, because I had the better moveset, I would own him. Until he knew what Shang Tsung was, and then he began to own everything.
Wow. Mortal Kombat 9 I'm about to own tomorrow, actually. I've heard that's probably the best one, and it certainly looks like it, especially in terms of content.
Yeah, I'd agree. I own it as well. It's very nice. The story is fluid.
Yeah, the story I have seen is actually good for a fighting game.
Yeah,
fighting games,
except when Sindel randomly,
Yeah, but even then, most time, video games or fighting game storylines are just you fight 5 enemies, then the boss, and that's it. Whereas Mortal Kombat had a story.
Yeah.
Like a story is my point. Like, the things were happening, there were characters, and Injustice carried that on, in my opinion.
I can say one thing I thought was a bit weird with the MK9 story, is that it's like, I understand that they have different areas for the different maps, but there's no, interval, there's no middle ground for that. It's like, okay, we're on the main place where Shang Tsung sits in his chair. Now we're in the pit where you can uppercut people into the pit. Also, there were a lot more filler fights in Mortal Kombat compared with Injustice. It's like, I know, it felt slightly more padded, but Injustice, solid story, not as good as Mortal Kombat 9's. Fighting, the background using stuff was cool, and it's made its way into Mortal Kombat X. Yeah, it looked cool when Sub-Zero grabbed the
branch
and then turned it to ice and whacked Scorpion over the head.
Yeah, and there's some cool new characters in here. There's like the Bug Woman, and
the Bug Woman looked goddamn cool.
And Johnny Cage's and Sonya's daughter, and there was some Aztec guy.
The wedge-like person
who was ridden on by some small person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the story is intriguing me this time because it's like, from what I've heard, it's 25 years after, I assume, Mortal Kombat 9, as well as just after Mortal Kombat 9. So that's where you get your older characters and also your, almost their legacy, like their children and all the new characters. Which is probably the best thing they could have done, as in MK9, everyone died all of a sudden when Sindel just showed up. The only people I'm not sure if they died, I know Scorpion didn't, Sonya and Johnny Cage didn't, Raiden didn't, I don't think Melina did. Aside from that, pretty much everyone died. Oh no, and Quan Chi didn't, because he was with that Elder God at the end and was like, now we will take over the world.
Yeah, but Quan Chi is Quan Chi. I like him.
Yeah. But yeah, this looks cool, if I'm honest. Mortal Kombat X looks fun, looks more brilliant Mortal Kombat. I just want to touch on the DLC quickly, which I know, DLC. Injustice has one of the best DLC plans I've seen in a video game. It's like £1 for skin packs, which is like 5 or 6 skins for a couple of characters. Not each, like, overall. £4 for a character, and most single skins for free. Which is really good, especially for a fighting game, where I love getting alternate costumes and stuff for my characters. The only thing I wish they would do, and I hope they do with Mortal Kombat X, is stages. I hope they can allow you to download new maps. I know most people don't care about maps. I think they do, especially in a game where you interact with the environment so much.
Yeah, exactly. They need to bring back some of the old ones. I mean, I know some of them were 3D, like Deadly Alliance.
Yeah, I don't think those work as well.
But you could probably change it in some way. There were some pretty cool maps.
Yeah. And obviously they're throwing new ones in, like there was that cool boat harbour sea one that they were showing off. That looks cool. There was an arena. There's always an arena in Mortal Kombat. Literally every game there's an arena map, pretty much. Fatalities are back. X-rays are back. Which is great, because I think X-rays were an ingenious addition to...
X-rays were if you saved it for the last minute,
Yeah.
it was the fatality for those who couldn't remember the combination.
Yeah, oh my god.
Which I think counts for about 90% of us.
Yeah. And please have as much bonus content as there was in MK9, because Injustice toned back on the extra content, which was a shame, because MK9 had so much. And I feel there definitely should have been more in Injustice, so I hope they bring that back. This feels like the infusion of Mortal Kombat 9 and Injustice, what they've learned, what they have, well, hopefully not what they haven't learned, all the best parts of both. So, yes, looks great. Yeah, Mortal Kombat X, we're both excited for. Then we have The Order 1886. Have you seen any of this?
No. I saw some kind of LNG gameplay, which looked quite cool.
This is not medieval. This is a Victorian alternate history fighting monsters and also humans. It looks alright, I suppose. It looks interesting. They've shown too much of the fighting of the humans so far, and they've kind of hinted at the werewolves being in there. But yeah, this looks interesting. I'm not that psyched for this.
It's not a game for full price.
Not so far. I don't know. They haven't showed off enough of it for me. Then we have the Pokemons, which you may want to talk about.
Yes.
Off you go.
I'll try and stay brief. I'm only really going to talk about the new remakes for Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald. I did not play these until I was about 11, because I started with Fire Red and Leaf Green, and really excited for these remakes. Probably going to make me buy a 3DS, but I might wait a while. So, because I'm really just... I need the PS4. But Pokemon, the remakes, I'm glad they're making remakes, because Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I think, is one of the remakes were the best Pokemon titles I've ever played, because they did so much right. So much of those games, the content within those games already, so before the remakes, were good, but then they just threw loads of new stuff in that they'd come up with, and it all melted together into one really good game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, couldn't give a crap about the 3D, and I'm sure they don't either, so should be fun.
First of all, do you like Little Big Planet?
Played the first one with my brother. We really enjoyed it.
Okay, do you want to talk about the third one?
Again, I'm not going to get it at full price.
Okay.
But I know why people want it. It's this kind of cool...
Max.
It's not indie.
No, but it doesn't feel AAA.
Indie, though.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Sorry, wait, what?
I said it doesn't feel AAA. If you know what I mean.
Exactly. It doesn't feel... It feels a bit indie in some places.
But yeah, they're introducing new characters, that's cool. But I just wanted to touch on that before we moved on to Project Spark, which feels like Microsoft's attempt at Little Big Planet, but much more in-depth and weird, where it's like they haven't explained it enough yet. Where it's like, you can make whole games, and it's like, how? How do I do that?
Is this Spore, or what? What am I playing here?
Is it more Little Big Planet, or just creating a game? I'm confused. And okay, we need to touch on this. They've put conkers in the game.
Rip.
You can't put conkers in a kid's game. That defeats the point of conkers. Like, I don't get that. I don't... Why? If you're putting conkers in a game, I just don't see the point to it, especially as a kid's game. because he's meant to be the edgy parody thing, satire, whatever, of the Nintendo fuzzy, cute mascots. So I doubt they're going to have him like that in Project Spark, which is odd. So that's the only reason I want to touch on Project Spark, because I'm not really interested in it, but I would have preferred to see a new Conkers game, if I'm honest.
Hopefully Great Mighty Pooh returns, though.
That's the thing, if it's a kids game, they probably won't do that. But Conkers doesn't sell well, so I don't know why they don't just do a smaller, like, less expensive Conkers game. Like a downloadable one.
Like
Xbox
the Xbox Live Store.
Exactly. Just release it for a cheaper price on Xbox Live Store. I don't get the point of doing it like this. It feels like, we have this character we own the rights to, but we don't want to make a game, so let's throw him in here. Next, we have Quantum Break, which is made by the people who made Alan Wake and Max Payne.
You can go.
Alan Wake, love it, love it, love it. I think it's great. Max Payne, I've only played the third one, which wasn't made by them, but from what I've seen of the other two, great. Quantum Break looks weird and intriguing, and it's meant to tie in with a TV show, and maybe. That's my overall thought on it. I would prefer an Alan Wake 2, if I'm honest. Once again, if they released that and the Master Chief Collection, I would almost certainly have bought an Xbox One, or buy one now, but yeah, no, I don't know, they haven't showed enough of it. They've shown a couple of cutscenes and like 5 seconds of gameplay. All I know is it's a third-person shooter. Aside from that, no clue. So, yeah. You have any thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. Next up, I'm sure you have thoughts on this, is Rainbow Six Siege.
Praise that son.
This looks really good. This pretty much stole the show. If Ubisoft hadn't been doing so well, this would have stolen the show. Like, by a mile.
I loved that they all did this, and it was like that they brought out, the manager of the whole company.
Yeah, everyone except Xbox did this. Where it's like, oh, that's the show, everyone. Oh, and there's this one more game, and then they walk off. Don't say what it is. And then it just ends with Rainbow Six.
Title,
the Siege.
and then they all leave.
And then that's it. No one comes on stage like, yep, we're making this. It's just like, oh, okay.
But when it first started rolling, and when the
Counter-Strike.
heads-up display came up, I immediately thought Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I'd have thought it's like, oh, cool, new Counter-Strike on next gen. Cool. But no, they went above and beyond. They made Rainbow Six The Siege.
And if you've watched one of Ben's videos, then you'll know
I like some Rainbow Six. I haven't played the old ones, but Vegas 2 was... and Vegas 1 were good. They were pretty great, actually, if I'm honest. Still haven't beaten Murder Town Dark.
No, we haven't.
We're getting...
If anyone's got any strats, please post in comments.
But, I hope it just isn't just online. I want the terrorist hunt, which is basically what they showed in this, but not with players. I want to co-op and take on the AI, because this looked cool, and I don't want to have to rely on multiplayer. Because we will lose every time, because the Rainbow Six community is intense, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that they didn't just do straight up deathmatch. I like this hostage extraction. You can blow holes in walls, and it looks really good. You can choose how you go in. This looked really, really fun.
I do want to say I would like the campaign to be like the old ones, so on the PS1, in which you chose your...
Yeah, that's basically
like
what...
a team of 9 people at the beginning, and if anyone plays as bad as me, you lost your first 3 during the first mission.
But yeah, it looks like they're doing that basically, but with the online. So it's not AI, you're with its teammates, which I would still like to see have some AI implementation. I would also like them to straight up say, is Patriots cancelled?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I
I'm
wasn't
still a bit.
psyched for Patriots, I just wanted Terrorist Hunt. But I would like them to at least say, yeah, Patriots is done. And maybe show us some campaign of this one. I want to see what they're doing with Siege's campaign. Because I'm intrigued, definitely. I'm intrigued if there's any other modes, what the campaign is going to be like, if there is one.
The title Siege makes me intrigued. It's not clear what it means.
I think it's quite clever, but if they called it the Raid, that would imply it's always the Rainbow team breaching in to secure somewhere. So it made me wonder, at some point, are you going to be the Rainbow team and have to, like, defend, basically switch roles? Because Counter-Strike don't do that, but I wondered if they would, because it could be like, guard the hostage now, don't let the terrorists kill them or kidnap them. But yeah, all I really want is Terrorist Hunt. Please, please, please put in this. I love that mode. I know lots of Rainbow Six diehards didn't, but I thought it was great, and surrounded by this game could be the best Rainbow. The best Rainbow. Then Ratchet and Clank Hyper Super Ultra Next Gen Edition that isn't on Next Gen. I believe it's on PS3. I'm not too much of a Ratchet and Clank fan. I've played a couple. They were cool. I think you are.
No, not in any sense.
Oh, right. Oh, no, it's Crash Bandicoot, sorry.
Yeah, I am a Crash fan.
Sorry, I thought you liked Ratchet and Clank.
No, let me address this. I played the Ratchet and Clank when I was in Year 5, round a friend's house. It looked fun.
Right.
And I also played the one that I got for free when PSN got hacked. That's my experience with Ratchet and Clank in a nutshell, and I'm sure you intelligent people out there can decipher what I mean.
Alright. So then The Sims 4, more Sims, oh yay, they get to extort more money out of us.
Shoot the woo.
By removing the features they put in with expansions for the last one and then putting them in expansions for 4 and being like, look, all these features are back that for some reason we're unable to put in The Sims 4. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to put in with that.
Despise The Sims.
I don't mind them, I see why people like them. I'm more of a SimCity person.
They could die.
I'm more of a SimCity person, if I'm honest.
Oh, yeah. SimCity makes sense, at least.
Which is a shame wasn't at E3. Then we have Sonic Boom, the new Sonic game.
Didn't see this.
This is a game to tie in with a TV show that they've done all the new character designs and they look awful. I'm sorry. The only one that looks good is Tails, and Amy always looks the same. But Knuckles looks like he abuses steroids.
I think you showed me a picture of it.
Yeah, Sonic is way too tall and has a scarf, but I would rather them just make the Sonic game that's like got super hyper next gen graphics and is insanely fast and
remake Sonic Heroes.
Sonic Heroes 2 confirmed.
I played that today. It was so fun.
Sonic Heroes 2.
I died like shit tons there.
Then we have Star Fox Wii U. Cool. I think this is a good thing to have on the Wii U, to be like,
needs to be brought back, seeing that there wasn't one on the Wii, were there?
I don't believe so. I think the most recent one was on 3DS.
Yeah. So good that it's on the home console.
Yeah,
nice
and
move,
it will
Nintendo.
have the advantage of better graphics, so I'm sure they'll have better areas, like larger areas.
And put secrets in it, like the wormhole.
People are wondering if you'll get out of the R-Wing, because I know people hate the one where you do, because you never get in the R-Wing. But I think it could work if you could get out of the ship. I think they did it wrong in what I've seen of the Star Fox game, where you can. But I think it could be cool for exploring planets, and what the hell just happened to my recording software? Oh, bugger.
Are we out?
I'm not sure. Sorry about that. The iMovie is a horrible recording device for anything over 10 minutes long. So yeah, where were we? Oh yeah, Star Fox. Getting out of your ship. Yeah, that could be cool if they do it right, basically.
Yeah.
Then we have Star Wars Battlefront. Once again, the 3 has gotten lost when coming to the title. To put this in perspective, I'm holding a tiny version of the Death Star 2 in my hand. I just found it on the floor and now I've picked it up.
My desktop picture is a picture of the Death Star.
Cool. So yeah, once again, DICE, are they making too much? Why? What is the point of coming to E3 saying we're making this game, there's no gameplay, but we are making it. Here's people making it. It's not just an announcement, they have like a trailer that isn't a trailer. And they throw in like 2 seconds of gameplay to tease you. Why? What is the... I don't get that. But Battlefront 1 and 2, they're quite flawed, but they still are very good. And it makes sense to be being made by the people that made Battlefield, as Battlefront was a Battlefield ripoff to begin with. Hoping for larger areas. I would like to see Heroes make a return, possibly with less focus on them though.
And I'm hoping for the 108 versus 108 army that it used to be.
That would be cool if they were all on the map at the same time this time.
Yeah.
Because it is Battlefield. They've done 64. I'm sure they can do 108.
Especially on next gen.
Yeah. So far, they're only focusing on locations from the original trilogy, which I'm actually disappointed in. Okay, I know people hate the prequels, fine. But you've got to admit, some of the best levels in the first 2 Battlefronts were Droids versus Clones ones, as well as the original trilogy ones.
Coruscant and Naboo come to mind straight away.
Yeah, I would like to see them at least be in the game. Come on, it's just make a Star Wars Battlefront that crosses the ages, because I'm almost certain it will tie into Episode 7. I'm almost certain. Like, I pretty much am, but yeah. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully, being the key word. Then we have Sunset Overdrive. Thoughts, Nick?
Is that the racing one?
No, that's
Oh, yes, I remember now. Yeah, looked funny. I actually thought it was... what did it remind me of? Just some kind of weird Deadpool-ish kind of thing.
There is a Deadpool video game.
Yeah, but, you know.
I've heard it's good.
No, it's not.
I've heard it's bad, but I've heard it's good. I've heard both.
Anyway, yeah, looks interesting and funny. I can see why it's going to sell. Or why it wouldn't sell.
I'm not excited for this. I don't care for it. If I'm honest, okay? Could be
It's
fun.
still not going to make me buy an Xbox One, though.
Yeah, it's not a mind-blowing exclusive. Once again, it's just, it could be fun, which is a word I would use to describe most of Xbox One's exclusives. Nothing is really that much of a system seller. So, really, in terms of choosing a console, just go with the one with the better graphics, if I'm honest, which is PS4. So, that's a whole different video that we've done before and we're not going to do again. Then we have Smash Bros. For 3DS. Oh, sorry,
Not
Super
knowing much about the multiplayer on a 3DS, if it's as good as it is on Wii, then great. I think the handheld guides needs a bit more, to tell you the truth, and this is a nice step.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense to release it on both platforms. That's my view on it.
Yep.
And then we have Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I like who they're adding. I like Pac-Man, he makes sense. Like Mega Man, he makes sense. Wii Fit Trainer, sure, could be fun.
Wait, as an actual playable fighter?
Yeah. Why not? It's Smash Bros. Sure, throw 'em in there. That's my view on it.
Hey, if Zero Suit Samus is there, why the fuck not?
Yes, Zero Suit Samus is in there. Yeah. I'm in such a weird place with this game. It looks so similar to Brawl, in my opinion.
Which already looked similar to Melee.
I hadn't played those. I've not even seen any gameplay of those, but it's so similar. Like the graphics look better. They haven't really shown me that many more maps that look really cool. Sure, they've introduced a few new characters. Sure, that's cool, but I don't know. Something about it just doesn't make me want to run out and buy it, or especially not a whole console for it. I'm not sure because I do like Nintendo. Don't before everyone's like, oh, you just don't like Nintendo. Yeah, I do. I don't own many Nintendo games, but I do like Smash Bros. Is one of my favorite games, but I'm not sure about this one. Just doesn't interest me that much. Your thoughts?
I want Wolf in it.
Fox is in it, I think.
I don't care.
No, Fox is in it. Wolf was in Brawl, right?
Yeah. And he had a goddamn amazing moveset.
Wasn't it the same as Fox's and Falco's?
No, it was slightly different.
Slightly different.
He had like a falcon spinning kick.
Alright.
Rather than just some fire blast shit. Which was cool. I liked Wolf. He was cool.
Right, so then we have Tom Clancy's The Division. Which, once again, I've heard great things about it. I don't think it demos well. Because I was intrigued with it till they got to the man shoot man part. I was, okay. I kind of signed off after that and just stopped watching and fast forwarded. I wasn't that blown away by it, if I'm honest. I don't know about you.
It could be good.
Yeah.
It needs to. I want to see it though. I want to
Yeah, not in an edited stage demo. I want to see someone playing it, like someone off the internet playing it. Not someone that works for the company. I just want to see how it plays when someone that hasn't got it scripted plays it. I want to see how the multiplayer works.
I want to see the feels.
Yeah, I want to know how the multiplayer works, because once again, I'm not sure if this is single-player, multiplayer, whatever it is. Graphics look good, but man shoot man, I'm not that blown away by it yet. You have anything to add?
No.
Next we have Uncharted 4. I haven't seen the 4 in any of the images for it, but I think it's Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
Yeah.
That's Nick's official review on it.
Oh, you wanted me to say something?
Yeah, because I'm not an Uncharted person. I haven't played it.
Okay. I've played all 3 of them.
I know the story to all 3.
I haven't played Golden Abyss on the Vita, I believe it's on.
Yeah, it's on the Vita. I haven't.
I haven't played that. I heard it was decent.
Yeah, I heard it was good for a Vita game.
Yeah. So from the 3 main games on the PS3, fabulous cast, great storytelling, Naughty Dog. You're still one of my favourite companies of all time. Bring me a Crash game that's good though. And more power to you. Uncharted is such a good series. The multiplayer was great. The co-op was great, in fact. And I think it needs a next-gen title.
Yeah, and that's what this is. So, yeah, I'd agree with that, sure. Then we have, finally, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Which, to me is a game series...
Dragon Age, sorry, what?
Which to me is a game series that I know why people like it once again, but it's too long, it doesn't excite me enough. More power to them for being like the biggest, I think they're Polish, I believe they're Polish, the biggest Polish developer out there, and it's based on this really famous, I believe it's Polish book series,
yeah.
and More power to them for blowing everyone away and everyone loving it. I just personally don't.
Well, I don't like it. Or...
No, I definitely don't hate it. I can see why people like it once again, but it's just too long. It's like however long the campaign is. I do prefer longer campaigns, but there's a difference between length and just dragging on for me. And it's not just something that greatly excites me to play. I know why people like it, and I like that it's out there to appeal to people that like it.
To me, it's a game that would... It's kind of... If Metal Gear and Dragon Age were in one game.
That's interesting.
No, Metal Gear in the sense that it's long-winded.
Oh, right.
And that you kind of have to pay attention to it.
Mm.
The actual gameplay, I watched all of it. It looked interesting. It looked fun how the quests integrated into side quests.
I will say that
so
graphics, map size, and the quest crossover looked cool.
I'm just worried about the quest crossover thing. If it's gonna be like, I'll play the game through once, and if I want to play it again, I'll be like, oh yeah, I can go do this quest, and I'll go do it. Rather than it integrating how it should feel.
So yeah, that's all the games. I just want to quickly do what surprised us that wasn't there. I don't know if you have anything. I have
a few.
Yeah. For me, the main one is Bethesda. They were there so little. What
did they say? It was Doom, and that's it,
There was
right?
Doom, and they had a bit of the Evil Within that we'd already seen.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, that's it. That is so strange to me, considering they're announcing Doom for QuakeCon. I would have thought they'd have done that with loads of other games. I thought they'd have, like, a tease of the Elder Scrolls 6 whatever.
Yeah, elsewhere, people. It needs to be elsewhere.
But yeah, it was so strange to me that they didn't have anything, considering there was no Fallout 40s, nothing. It was so peculiar to me that
As
they
I said,
weren't there.
admittedly, they usually say more at PAX East.
Yeah, but normally I'd expect them to say something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the Doom trailer was, to me, if I'm honest, a disappointment. And the Evil Within stuff we'd seen before, so I was just confused why they weren't there. Do you have anyone?
I can name a few titles.
Yeah.
Well, can I just say, before I go on to that, Bethesda, make that Pirates of the Caribbean game again. just do it. You know what I'm talking about. Do it. Moving on. Dragon's Dogma 2.
That surprises you it wasn't there?
Yeah. I think it's about time we need it.
Alright.
At the start of a new... Okay, maybe not the start. Give it a year. Next year, if it's not there, I don't know. I just don't know what they're doing. Capcom. It's a goddamn good game. And needs to have some more... anything else?
It surprised me that EA were there so little.
Yeah, they didn't come out in 4, so I'll give them that.
It was all like, we're making this game, but we can't show you it. It was so strange to me. And it felt so paranoia of being leaked these days, because I want to briefly touch on this. This is a huge problem with video games. So much gets leaked. I don't know how. Like, so much of Hardline is on the internet. If you look it up, they've got, like, all the challenges and everything. And they're always like, oh, we're scared this is going to get leaked, so let's announce it. I don't get how that can happen. I don't get why that happens. Like, this is a serious problem, in my opinion, for video games. That there's such a fear with developers of their stuff getting leaked. They will probably announce it in E3 too early, in my opinion, to show anything of it. And yeah, I just got that whole feeling during EA's press conference, especially with that racing game.
Yeah.
Where it was just all real life footage, and I was like, why are you showing me this to me? I don't care yet. It's not a game yet. It's an idea. Don't sell me on an idea in your head. But yeah, that was a big thing that surprised me. Do you have anything else?
Not that I expected it to be here, but it's something I would like to see in the next year on this new gen of consoles. It'd be a new Jade Empire.
All right.
As I said, it's not something I expected to see.
Yeah, it didn't sell well, to my knowledge.
Yeah, it didn't, but it was a goddamn good game.
Yeah, one more that did surprise me. To my knowledge, there was so little from Capcom. They announced Dead Rising 3 for PC, and that's it. And that is so strange to me. There was no new Resident Evil. There was no new Street Fighter. They just said, oh, the Street Fighter 4 version we've just released, that's out. Let's announce it at E3 for some reason. It felt odd to me. I don't know. Do you have anything else?
As I said, I probably should have done something before, because I haven't really got much.
Yeah, there wasn't too much that surprised me that wasn't huge like Bethesda. Nothing else sprang to mind. But quickly also, who won E3 in terms of press conferences?
I think we both know Ubisoft hands down.
Ubisoft every year do, in my opinion, because Ubisoft are one of the few publishers where I feel they put so much effort into each game. And yes, most of them are sequels, but they always feel different. They don't just feel like another sequel they knocked out. But in terms of who in rating them, EA are last purely because there was such a nothing conference. Then I've got to admit it was Sony. Sony's bored me. I was fast forwarding through so much of their conference. There's so much dead air. Considering they've been riding a wave of people's love for them, it was, I don't know, it was just really awkward and didn't...
There was a few choice bits, though.
Yeah, there were a few good bits, but there were so many bits of just nothingness.
Yeah.
And then I would say Microsoft, underneath Ubisoft, is second best. Not putting Nintendo in there because they didn't have a conference. I know they had their Nintendo Direct, but... yeah. Microsoft, at least every time they were on stage, it was a new game. They probably devoted a bit too much time to Halo, but I don't care, I love Halo. But nothing blew me away in any of the other conferences aside from Ubisoft. Would you agree with that? That
yeah,
kind of rating
I mean, as I said, there's from everyone there was stuff that I really thought, good, glad they're doing that. Or that looks great.
There was at least one thing in every conference.
Ubisoft was the only one I watched, like, in one block, in one sitting. I was, in fact, I think it's finished at 2 a.m. here in the UK, and I stayed up to watch the whole thing.
I didn't, I just saw the highlights and was very pleased with what I saw.
No, I stayed up for the entire thing. That is a game we don't talk about. Fuck, I can't remember the name. It's the one about World War One.
Oh, that is the Bethesda game, is it? That multiplayer...
No.
Oh.
It's the art one.
Oh, is it that dog one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was an indie game I didn't remember the title of, so when I was going through the list, that didn't spring to mind. Haven't seen it. From what I have heard, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
It's like Warhorse with a dog.
What, it almost... In fact, it did bring a tear to my eye. It looked goddamn good.
Yeah, from what I've heard, yeah, that looked good. It sounded good.
I have to admit, there wasn't one thing that Ubisoft didn't show me that I thought, don't show me that.
Yeah.
Because even like the whole... The fitness thing, that looked fun.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'd agree with all of that. So that's our E3 thoughts. All of them.
Nothing... I know there's not much about PC these days in E3, but I want a Mountain Blade 2. Sorry.
Okay, so, yeah, that's our E3 thoughts. I hope you enjoyed them. If you stayed for this whole video, Power
you're
to
a
you.
dick.
Power to you, as Nick would say. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Put your thoughts on your favourite stuff from E3 down below. And yeah.
Or make another 2 to 3 hour video about
Yeah,
it.
you could do it with some of your friends, or you could do it by yourself. You could talk to yourself for 2 hours. Have fun, you lonely human being.